As entrepreneurs, we are so busy with trying to meet deadlines and back-to-back meetings. How do we possibly take the time to just be creative? I mean, we aren't actually getting anything done, are we? I mean, just letting our mind wander, thinking about other things. Can we really afford to do that? Let me show you why letting your mind wander is actually productive, and how to actually use that deviation from the task at hand to your advantage. You know, one of the things that I love about creating videos for YouTube is that fact, being creative, being able to create something. And it is so much fun to be able to bring new thoughts together in new ways that I had never thought of before. And, you know, really bringing together things that I've been learning, things I've been researching, and putting it into a video where I can put it into the thumbnail, the title, the description, everything, and really make sure that I'm coming across in the best way possible. And it's so stimulating. And I realized that when I started focusing on creativity as being that missing link in order to grow your business, I started to realize, and I started to give myself permission to actually be creative, to give myself the time that I could be creative, and that it was okay to let my mind wander. And I used to be obsessed about spending every single second of the day as efficiently as possible, making sure I was doing something every second that was the most productive that I could be. And if I deviated for even a minute, I always was really hard on myself. I would go back and analyze, like, okay, what made me go off the wrong track, and how do I keep that from ever happening ever again? Right? And saying, like, okay, I cannot do that. That's just distracting. That's wasting my time. But then what I realized as I started to really deep dive into creativity was the fact that I can deviate. I can go away from the exact course that I set for myself, and that actually can help. It can help in the fact that I'm not restrained. I'm not contained within the lines of what I am thinking about and what I'm currently pursuing, but when I can take something from somewhere else that I deviate into just out of curiosity or something I'm looking into, and then I'm able to come back, what I'm focusing on becomes more clear, and I can think of it in new ways and different meanings. You know, it's really like about gathering dots and giving myself permission to go and gather new dots that might not seem at the current time to be extremely productive or right along the lines of what I'm currently focusing on. And see, that's really the key, is what I learned is that as you're trying to be creative and as you're focusing on things, and in order for creativity to be as effective as possible, you actually have to have dots in the first place. You have to go and gather them to be able to put them together in new ways. And that's what creativity is. It's really gathering dots, putting them together in new ways that nobody else had thought of, and not even you. So if you don't let yourself do this, if you don't let yourself go out there and deviate from the path that you have set for yourself, you might be limiting yourself and limiting your creativity. And your creativity and innovation will suffer because of that. But if you give yourself permission to go out there and gather dots, to look at things in new ways, and you can start to see things that you would have normally thought of as unproductive as just being a dot to gather in, a dot that you hadn't thought of before. And it's so freeing, as it was so freeing for me to finally realize that even if I'm not being that productive force that I'm trying to be every second of the day, that it's okay, that I can deviate for a little bit, because I don't know how, but in the future, I might be able to use that. I might be able to use it as part of a story. I might be able to use it as part of a YouTube video. I might be able to use it as a way to convince a prospect or a future client that they should come work with me, because I'm able to connect with them in a new way. Or a partner. And not only can you effectively banish that productivity Nazi from your mind, you can also purposely schedule these creativity periods into your day to actually let your mind wander. And if you choose to go down this route, you're in really good company. Because in the beginning days of Amazon, Jeff Bezos would take 2 whole days a week just to explore new ideas and possibilities. And it is long known that Google will allow their employees to spend 20% of their time exploring their own side projects that could benefit Google. And these side projects at Google have led to some amazing innovations like Gmail and Google AdSense. I mean, these are huge applications that Google uses on a daily basis. And this all came from allowing people the chance to let their minds wander, to let them explore some new route and new activity that they don't normally focus on. And now, maybe it's a stretch to allow yourself or your employees 20 to 40% of their week towards alternate activities, but how about just an hour a day? So set a timer, schedule a time in your calendar for creativity time. Mark it off and make it just as important as if you were meeting a client, if you were meeting a potential investor, if you were meeting somebody that was really, really important that you had to make that meeting for. Make this meeting the same way, meeting with your creativity. And if you're wondering when you should schedule this creativity time, I mean, your day is so busy, but if you're going to go and squeeze in some time out of the day, when is it actually going to be a good time for creativity? Because there are optimal periods during the day that will help you be as creative as possible and make sure that your body is ready to be creative. You also might be wondering, what is the minimum amount of time that I can spend? And if you want just more of an in-depth view of why you should schedule creativity in the first place, then I invite you to check out the next video here on the right, where I go into the importance of scheduling a creativity time.